that third pairing. I mean, I know you like Ian Cole. He's been getting. I mean, that third pairing's just been getting eaten alive this whole series. I'm looking more here at the chat. Let's see, what do we got here, Eddie?
I don't know. I'm going back to
who could you get for Kasha, but also need the cap space as well? Who could we get for Andre Kasha?
Is it straight up or is it in a deal?
I mean, I don't want to get anybody for him. I want to keep him and see what he does. I don't want to trade that guy.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the only way he gets moved, I think, is I don't think you would. There's no point in trading him straight up, really. I mean, it doesn't benefit you at all. I mean, if you're looking to rebuild, then he's a guy you would include in that rebuild, unless you're packaging for Pacioretty or a player of that caliber where a team says you have to include this guy in here. That's one of the main pieces that we're going to take back in our trade. Then maybe, but I don't know. It would. I'd have to see a deal written out to see how it would work out. Like if you had, and again, I'm probably overvaluing what Kasha would be to another team because he is relatively unproven, but we've seen enough of him that we believe that he can be a consistent player for the Ducks. But teams would probably be looking for if you going off the rumors we had for a price for Max Pacioretty at the trade deadline, it'd be like a first Kasha plus for Pacioretty. Is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, Pacioretty definitely makes this team better, but that's a lot to give up. And again, mentioning the frugality of Bob Murray, does he really make that trade? I don't believe he does. That's just not in his makeup to make those massive trades and mortgage all those futures for a guy who's going to be with the Ducks for maybe 1 or 2 seasons.
A common theme you'll see across the NHL is GMs overvaluing their picks and prospects. They love to overvalue things in the short term and feel like they made the correct picks. They made the correct trades, the correct signings. I would not expect Bob Murray to create any sort of havoc in the Ducks lineup and bring in a piece that's going to disrupt what he has. Let's get to some of the questions you have up here already, because I know you pulled some already here. I don't want to keep avoiding them, so I know we got something to answer to, and unfortunately, because we have to continually talk about how we're going to deconstruct this Ducks team.
For sure. I want to go through the chat here, too, because I feel like we've maybe missed some questions because we have a lot of responses in the chat, and I was scrambling, so I feel like we missed some things. Connor said earlier, he said, I love the Ducks, but we're one of the dirtiest teams in the league, and we need to stop. Do you think the Ducks are one of the dirtiest teams in the league? If you put aside some biases, put aside being a homer for a bit, do you think the Ducks are a dirty team? Because we hear this a lot from everybody. I mean, not just in this series, but from everybody they face. Looking from the outside.
Anybody watch the Toronto game in the playoffs? Anybody watch Boston? Brad Marchand, Nazem Kadri. Did anybody tune in to watch McNabb, or I forgot who else elbowed Kopitar last game in the Vegas Kings series? Look, I mean, you're going to get a pest on most teams. It's just the way it is on most competitive teams. There's a guy that gets under your skin that's talented. Brad Marchand is the king of all the rats, as everyone likes to call him, the rat. He also is extremely talented. Corey Perry is more or less that guy for the Ducks. I would think he'd be the only one you could kind of throw out there as being somewhat dirty. I don't really feel like this Ducks team, I don't know. I don't think I can call them a dirty team. I think they have some questionable plays now and again, but as just a dirty team in general, I would have to disagree.
Yeah, for the most part, I would too. I feel like they get a lot of flack for being a dirty team, and again, you might have, it's one thing. It'd be interesting to dive into the numbers and let me see here. James brought up in the chat like how many suspension the Ducks have lately, and those types of things that go into it, and look at the different amount of plays where the Ducks have been involved in dirty plays like that. I feel like it's an easy thing to just plug in on the outside looking in. I mean, it's just one of those stereotypes that seems to go around the Ducks no matter what lately, just because of players like Corey Perry and Ryan Kessler and Nick Ritchie and of the likes like that. I think it's an unfair criticism at times. I mean, the Ducks do have a lot of players who play on the line, and a lot of times they cross it. I feel like Corey Perry in the last game, his hit on Melker Karlsson crossed the line. But the little slashes and the scrums after the whistle, those aren't dirty plays. That's just the way, that's the style the Ducks play, and that gets classified as dirty sometimes for being a team who's physical and plays on the edge. I mean, giving a guy a little bit of a shot after the whistle isn't dirty. If you want to look at dirty, look at what Hedman did to Nico Hischier today. I mean, he gave him a shot between the legs after the whistle.
He was just checking to make sure he wore his cup.
Yeah,
I mean, Nico asked
but that's a bit of a dirty play, right? And you don't see
True.
Nobody's going to talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning being a dirty team or Victor Hedman being a dirty player. But if Corey Perry does that to Evander Kane in this game, we're talking about that for weeks because of the notion that he's a completely dirty player. And yes, I mean, he does make some bonehead plays every now and then. And yes, he's a guy who consistently has played on the edge for his entire career, so he has that, pest and that stigma around him. But I feel like it's unfair to call this entire team dirty and to say that they're the dirtiest team in the league. But they do need to stop some of these things.
Chat.
Yeah,
Chris in our chat says, I think some of the personnel used to be a little dirty, and that stigma will never go away. I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the way it is. They've been dirty in the past. It happens. I mean, no one's talking about Rafi Torres on San Jose, knocking out Jakob Silfverberg in preseason, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no one's talking about those kinds of plays. Rafi Torres is notoriously a dirty player and, was in play with the Sharks. It just happens. You have some players on your team that kind of do some things, and then it just kind of sticks with them throughout their career. So we'll kind of go with that. Dean H., let's get to your question, man. Let's solve your sweater comment. Let's see what he says here.
He was asking if there's going to be new sweaters for the next game.
Yeah,
or for next year,
orange or a revamped of the Reebok third oranges. They already said the body will be orange. Interesting. Do you know anything on that front? I know that you and Mike kind of are more in tune with that. Have you guys heard anything?
Yeah, we heard something at the beginning of the season that they were going to go orange. We talked about it on the podcast. I don't know how much of quality information it was. I don't know if it was just rumors that the ownership was looking to go back to orange. I don't have any sources or any back inside information on what they're going to do. It's just there's been rumors that they want to go back to orange, whether it's going to happen or not, and they couldn't this season because of with the Adidas jerseys. It would just make sense for them to keep the regular style jersey they have now, and the fact that they can't have any third jerseys. But that was rumors that I heard at the beginning of the regular season. Whether it's true, I have no idea, but it would be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of a revamp, whether it be the jerseys, the logo, or whatever. It'd be interesting. I'm always interested to see the third jerseys when they come out. I do like the Ducks jerseys and their logo now. I'm just saying it would be cool to see a bit of a change, whether it's switching to orange. Because, I mean, if they switch to orange, I'm not sure how well the current logo works on just an orange jersey. I feel like it looks a little bit weird.
I'll ask Bob Murray on Thursday when I run into him.
when you have your Starbucks date with them on.
Yeah, we plan to meet there at 8:30 on Thursday, just so you guys know, and it's in Anaheim Hills.
The
you guys want to roll over here? Yeah, we have a long talk ahead of us because the Ducks have a chance to either extend or be eliminated on Wednesday. So I think Thursday is a great day for he and I to have our coffee date. I'll hit him up then. As Jimmy says in our chat, great, another jersey. My wife's going to be pissed.
All of us are.
Of course. Yeah. Who wants anyone to spend $200 on a jersey besides everyone who wants to buy them?
Let's because we've got a ton of questions outside the chat, but I want to rip through all the things we have in here because, I mean, these guys have been dedicated enough to be in here tonight. So let's just go through these as quick as possible. Dating back to about 40 minutes ago because we missed some of these. Chase said, I wouldn't mind trying to get a high draft pick this offseason, but what would we give up? Just a quick, brief answer. What do you think? Like a top 5 pick.
Repeat the question one more time. I'm looking for it. I didn't see it.
It's way back in the beginning. He said if the Ducks were going to get a high draft pick this offseason, what would they give up?
What would they give up for a high draft pick?
Yeah, and I'm assuming high draft is probably like top 5, top 10.
Nick Ritchie.
Yeah, I feel like it centers around like your first and then plus, like probably plus Nick Ritchie and then maybe some more. I mean, if you're getting a top 5, you're looking at a lot of assets giving up, especially because the Ducks pick is probably going to be around 18 to 20. So you're looking at giving up some assets. For Dean, he asked a question too. BX is done. Who takes his permanent spot next year if he doesn't come back? Is it Walensky? Is it Pedersen? Is it Larson? Is it somebody else that we get at free agency? Who do you think takes his spot?
It's interesting because we're not going to have Bosch and we're not going to have BX. So you got Hampus and Manson, and then you have Fowler and Montour. And then you're looking at that third pair is going to be young kids. But you have to feel like Bob Murray's going to bring in some vet to bring in and rear up the third pair. He's not going to let two rookies take this third pairing. I don't feel like he's going to do it. It's going to be a veteran and then a young kid coming around. There's no way in hell he's going to trust an all-rookie pairing at this point. I mean, look what's happening to him in the playoffs. They're getting eaten up, right? And there's no way in hell Bob's going to let that stand for next season.
Gordon Bombay said in the chat, I bet Bob Murray tells the story too, like, guess who I met at Starbucks? He's going back to the office.
He probably does.
Before we criticize, James brought in the chat, before we criticize Ryan Kessler, considering he wasn't 100%, he had a hip replacement, he was a Selke Trophy candidate last season, do we give him another healthy season before we kind of criticize him and talk about moving him or whatnot?
We're stuck with him. He's got a no move clause.
Or just like anywhere. Before we just completely rip him apart for.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I want to see what he's like in the first quarter of next season. I really want to see what October to December looks like, or October, November looks like.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if he'll ever be back to the player he was, which is unfortunate because he was coming off such a good season where we thought he was kind of snubbed for the Selke Trophy. And then he comes into this year, or he has the hip surgery in the offseason and then doesn't play until near Christmas or right after Christmas. And just doesn't look like the same player. I mean, it's unfortunate, and I hope that he can be back. I don't know. Do you think he's ever going to get back to that type of player again? You know, not just with the injury, but with age and everything like that?
If he was 24, yes. He'd be about probably 90% close to back where he was, I feel like, or more. But at 34 to start of next season, I don't think he's ever going to be the same guy we saw. Unfortunately, I don't think so.
Yeah. Moving on here, we had Gordon Bombay in the chat said, why is Randy Carlyle so adverse to rolling four lines? If Troy Terry is in, that's a legitimate line with the right accompaniment.
Because you can't trust people who haven't been there before, Gordon. You have to trust the guys who have been there, who are in their 30s, who are slower and have less playmaking ability. You don't want to throw anybody in there with inexperience and give them a shot, when you're only playing them 5 to 7 minutes a night. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Randy Carlyle, rather, just doesn't trust kids. He just wants what most coaches, the old school guys, they want to know what they're going to get night in, night out. You know what you're going to get from Chimera. You know what you're going to get from Kevin Bieksa. You know what you're going to get from Francois Beauchemin. Those are the guys night in, night out what they're going to do. You know their mistakes. You know what their positive sides are. You throw in a rookie, you don't know what you're going to get. And that frightens a lot of NHL coaches. They're old school.
Yeah. Chris brings up a good point about when we were talking about the Ducks being dirty. He said 40 years later, people still call the Flyers dirty. They're
still dirty.
They're
nasty. They're a nasty fan base. They're a nasty
fan
base.
But the team right now, as it's constituted, isn't a dirty team. But they'll do one thing wrong, and they'll talk about how the Flyers are a dirty team because of the
because they get embarrassed by Sidney Crosby night in, night out.
Yeah, but they're kind of in the same boat of what the Ducks are. Gordon Bombay.
No, you're right.
Brings up when we were talking about how that the Ducks' current logo wouldn't look good on orange, and he references the Stadium Series jerseys and how bad the logo looked on the orange jerseys. I'm all for that. I feel like the Web D just does not. It doesn't just go well with an orange jersey. I feel like it just looks weird, and I don't think they changed the logo, but it'd be so interesting to see what they would do with orange jerseys. I don't know how they would really work that because I wouldn't be a fan of having the current logo on the orange jersey.
Hey, no. The Mighty Ducks logo on the orange jersey is sick. The third jersey, I love that jersey. I own that jersey. I'm okay with that becoming the official home jersey. That's my favorite one. The other jersey that I wear the most is the Paul Kariya Stanley Cup jersey, the eggplant and teal. That's my other favorite one. So I love the old school logo better.
Oh, for sure. All right, so we got to the chat. Now we can get into the million questions we have from Twitter and from Reddit, and we're just hitting an hour now. So we'll try and go through these all because I feel like we can answer them. But SEC, ESPN, of course, on the day where it is an 8-1 loss in the playoffs, we get a ton of questions. So We had SEC SPN on Twitter who said, can the Sharks pull off a 2014 again? If anybody doesn't remember, that's where the Sharks ended up going up 3-0 against the LA Kings, and the LA Kings came back and won the next 4 games.